morning. My name is Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie. And you can see me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube on the Stone Roadie Show. And I'm one of the original roadies for the original Leonard Skinner, and I was also a plane crash survivor, and they actually wrote a song about me. It goes, back at the hotel, Lord, we got such a mess. It seems that one of the crew had to go with one of the guests. Oh, yes. You know, that's the song, What's Your Name, you know, but I'm not up here to act like I can sing, because I know I can't sing, but I enjoy singing. You know, it's self-amusement and revenge, you know. But anyways, they want me to tell a couple stories before they come on. So I'm going to tell you how I met Leonard Skinner, because I'm just a poor boy from Greene, Ohio, and I was checking into a hotel in Kent with some young woman, and the woman at the front desk asked me if I'd ever heard of the band The Who, and I said, well, of course I have. And she said, well, they're in these rooms that are adjoining you where I'm putting you. And I go, oh yeah, right. So I go around there, and here's just a Conline van pulling a U-Haul trailer. So I went up to these two guys that were taking luggage out and stuff, and I said, who are y'all, the band playing in the hotel this weekend? And they goes, no, we're Leonard Skinner. And that was just when they got off tour with the Who from after promoting their first album. And so Billy, the piano player, and Alan, the guitar player, Alan Collins, who this guy here emulates over here. And he's even got the Alan Collins wardrobe on with the rated X and stuff. That's pretty cool. But anyways, and Gary Rossington, who just was the last member that just passed away, and Billy Powell, the piano player, they stuck their head around the corner and they said, man, ask him if he's got some weed, you know? So I just happened to have some, so since we were in the adjoining rooms, we just kind of partied for the whole weekend, you know? For that night. So they said, well, we're playing in Kent tomorrow night. Why don't you come to the show? So I did. And then they played at the Akron Auditorium the night after that, and then the Smiling Dog Saloon in Cleveland after that. And we kind of said our goodbyes. And then I went home and I gave them my phone number, and they called me and goes, hey, you happen to have some party goods we could, because we're driving to Florida and we could use some party goods for the flight home. Could you set us up? I go, yeah, come and see me. Wow. So Ed King, the guitar player, that's who called. He called me and said, I forgot where I was at. Anyways, they came to my house and I got them some stuff, and Ed King asked me if I'd ever maybe consider wanting to work for him, and I went, doing what? You know? And he said, well, everybody kind of got along with you, and we kind of need somebody to help us now, and I think you'd do good. So I goes, yeah, whatever, you know. So because that was December the 7th, 1973. So then just a couple weeks later, some woman called me from Florida who I knew, and she goes, hey, you met the guys from Leonard Skinner? And I goes, yeah. And she said, well, they're playing in Atlanta for New Year's Eve. Why don't you meet me there? And I said, well, okay. So I went down there and went to the show, and from getting in, from being around them up in Ohio, I knew how to manipulate my way in, and I got backstage and stuck my head up over the amp at Ed, and then after the show, he went to Ronnie and asked Ronnie if he would hire me. And Ronnie said, "Are you out of your mind? You know, I got friends in Florida that I've promised a job my whole life, you know, after I got famous, and you want to hire this Yankee from Ohio?" And it said, "Well, I think he'd do pretty good, you know, because, you know, but for whatever reason." And Ronnie said, "Well, he better do good, because if I got to send him home, I'm going to kick your ass, you know." So then I went with him down to Florida, and I don't know if you've ever heard of a place called the Hell House. So since I went down to Florida, I didn't have a place to stay, so I stayed out there at the Hell House at nighttime and ate those mushrooms that you pull out from under cow poop, you know, with a .22 rifle, and guarded the place, you know. So then we went to Hollywood and did the second Hollywood, California, did the second album. And the first person I met was John Lennon, and I was coming out of the studio, and John Lennon come walking in the door, and I said, "Do you know who you are?" And he kind of laughed about it, and then he went into the studio, and the Skinner guys were in there, and he stuck his head in, and they had to stop, and they came out. Well, by that time, John Lennon had asked to come back out, and they were going to lunch across the street. So he asked me if I wanted to go to lunch with him. So the Skinner guys come out of the studio place, and they said, "Hey, what happened to John Lennon?" He goes, "Oh, he went across the street to that restaurant there with one of your roadies, you know." So. So, you know, I thought that was a pretty funny story, and it's kind of the only one I could think of right off the bat to kind of try to entertain you guys like I just tried to do. But anyways, they say I'm pretty amusing on my podcast called The Stone Roadie Show, and I got one that I gotta leave here pretty soon, because I got to get one scheduled on YouTube with my co-host Kathy Godzi, who's a school teacher up in New Jersey, and then my other co-host, who's a regular on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. He's actually, I call him the rocket scientist. He actually worked for NASA for 35 years, and he was in charge of taking the space shuttle out on the crawler. He was in charge of that crawler that took the space shuttle out. And if you ever saw Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, my co-host was the one that was kind of instructing Mike Rowe how to grease the crawler. Anyways, enough jibber jabber, and I just tried to fill up some space like they kind of asked me to do. And I'm sorry if I bored you, but that's just the way it goes, you know. And all right, well, you know, this is some friends of mine called Mr. Breeze, you know. And there's a lot of Leonard Skinner tribute bands out there, and there's even the one that the kind of the one that, you know, Ronnie's brothers in, you know, which I don't mind those guys, you know. They're out there keeping the legend alive, and they're doing, you know, Ronnie was a good friend of mine. So they're out there keeping the legend of Leonard Skinner alive. And as long as somebody's doing that, you know, that's cool with me. And as far as I'm concerned, Ricky Medlock, who's the guitar player, the main guitar player, I guess you'd call him, is an actual, you know, original member as well. So, you know, Ronnie always told me, he said, you know, one of these days I'm not going to be able to do this. And my little brother Johnny, he's probably going to be out there and singing my songs for me, and that's just the way it's going to be, you know. And it just turns out that that's the way it is, you know. And so, you know, that's okay with me. Some people don't like the fact that there's still a band out there doing that, calling themselves Leonard Skinner, but I don't have a problem with it. But I didn't know if I told you, I was also on that airplane when it crashed back in 1977. And survived it and everything. But anyways, I talk about all that on my podcast called the Stone Roadie Show, where I give all the skin information you all want to know on a Stone Roadie Show. So, ta-ta and tooty-loo and happy trails to you until we meet again, and see you later, alligator, at the Wild Crocodile. And here they are, the Mr. Breeze Band.